Hey guys, Sebastian here with Potzer Analytics. Today we're going to be talking about a fundamental rook and pawn endgame trick. It's a must know, and it can be the difference between a win and a draw. So let's just jump right in. Here are 4 different positions. Each of them is white to move. By the end of this video, you'll be able to tell which ones are a win for white, a draw, or win for black. So let's start with this position here. Here we have white has a passed pawn and going forward, and white also has a rook on a8. The rook is currently blocking the promotion square for the pawn. Black has their rook attacking the passed pawn. So if white moves the rook in order to promote, then black is going to capture that pawn. So we all know that if you have a passed pawn, you want your rook behind the passed pawn so that it supports it all the way down to promotion. But that's not always possible. Sometimes you just sort of end up in this position where your rook gets trapped in front of your passed pawn and you can't move it because it'll get taken. So how do you get out of the way? How do you move the rook and promote the pawn without losing the pawn? And essentially you have 2 tricks. The first one we're going to look at is to deliver a quick check. So here, white is going to move their rook to d8 check, getting the rook out of the way and forcing the king to move. So white plays rook d8 check. The king is just going to move out of the way of check. And now white is free to promote. So white promotes the pawn to a queen. And if black takes the queen with the rook, then white will capture back with their rook. So that's what happens here. Black takes the queen with the rook, white captures back, and now white is up a rook. This is a straightforward checkmate pattern with the king and rook. So this is a win for white. And so if we go all the way back to the beginning, you should be able to look at this position and say, I know that this is a win for white because I have this quick check. Let's look at the next position here. Here we have the same thing, except black has their king on c6. Previously, it was on d6. So now in this position, the black king is closer to the promotion square. So let's see how that changes things in this position. So here, white plays rook to c8 check, hoping to move the rook out of the way and promote at the same time. So check. Now the king is going to move to b7. And now when white tries to promote that queen, the king is close enough that it can protect the rook capture on the promotion square. So white is going to promote to a queen, and now black is going to capture that rook. And because the king is close enough, it can actually protect that rook. So when white plays rook takes, the king can capture back, and it's a draw. So here, in this position, the black king is close enough to the promotion square that this check trick doesn't work. So you should be able to look at this position and say, this position is a draw for white. Let's look at our next position. Here we have the black king on d7. So previously, the black king was on the 6th rank, and now the black king is on the 7th rank. And that makes a big difference because now when white tries to play check, do the rook check, black can just take the rook. So here the check doesn't work. That means we got to use our other trick, and that is the skewer trick. So white is going to bring their rook all the way down to the other side of the board. And so when black tries to capture that pawn, white will drop their rook down, check, skewering the king and rook. So this works because the black king and pawn are on the same rank. So let's see that play out. So remember, first step is to bring that rook all the way to the other side of the board. And when black captures that pawn, the rook will play check. The king moves. And now white picks up the rook. And again, white here is up a rook. This is a straightforward win for white. So at the beginning, you should see this position and say, okay, the king and pawn are on the same rank. I'm going to try the skewer trick here. So this should be a win for white. Let's look at this position here. So Black's king is now on c7. Previously, it was on d7. So Black's king is one square closer to the passed pawn. Let's see how that makes a difference. Now, White is already thinking, okay, the Black king is on the same rank as the passed pawn, so I'm going to go for the skewer trick. So White is going to bring their rook all the way down, expecting to play check, and then pick up the rook. So White plays rook h8, and now Black is going to capture that pawn. White plays check, king moves, and see now Black is close enough that it can defend the rook. So when White captures that rook, Black is just going to capture back. So White takes, Black takes, and now this is a draw. So going all the way back here, you should be able to see that because the king is 2 squares away from the promotion square, he's going to be able to defend when the rook takes. So this position is a draw. The last position we're going to look at is when the Black king is on g7 or h7. So here, White would like to play the check or the skewer trick. But because the Black king is close enough to both of these squares, the Black king can just take the rook. So neither work in this position. Also, neither would work if the king was on h7. So neither trick works in this position, and this position is a draw. So let's go back to our original pop quiz where we have these 4 positions. Of these 4, which ones are a win for White, a draw, or a win for Black? And now you should be able to tell that A is a draw, B is a win for White, C is a win for White, and D is a draw. That's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed the skewer trick. Like and subscribe to get free access to all of our lessons on Elite Chess. I'll see you guys in our next video. Bye.